Hey there, today we're taking a look at a brand new dime novel Legends figure from Chicken Fried Toys. This is First Sergeant based off of Michael Bell, and you can see First Sergeant and Michael Bell. And if you don't know who Michael Bell is, let me tell you who I know him as. He is the voice, or he was the voice, of Duke from the 1980s G.I. Joe cartoon series. And then beyond that, he voiced a variety of other characters for a variety of other TV shows. Now, what's really cool about this package, before I jump in and open it up, is if you notice, there is a blank spot in this bottom right corner. What's really cool about this is that Chicken Fried Toys allowed for a spot that if you go and see Michael Bell anywhere, if you meet up with him, however it all works out, you could get him or have him sign this figure in this area. So it's not like over the picture or over the logo, it's like right here. I think that's actually pretty cool. So let's flip this around. You can see real quick what the back here looks like. So it talks a little bit about Michael Bell, talks about First Sergeant, company info, so it's like a full card, like a full file card back here. Here's a little snapshot of him, and I want to point out that this is part of the Weird Western Tales subline for Dime Novel Legends. Now, I'm not real clear if Weird Western Tales is separate from Dime Novel Legends, or if, like I said, it's a subline of Dime Novel Legends. But until I know more, because the front says Dime Novel Legends and not Weird Western Tales, I'm going to say it's a subline until I'm corrected. Now, this figure is limited to 2,000 pieces, and I will tell you that it is currently available, just went up online at the Chicken Fried Toys website. So if you've got any interest in this figure or this character whatsoever, get over there and pick it up. Anyway, let's get this figure out of off the card. Not out of the box, but off the card. So here we have First Sergeant off the card, and the first thing I'm going to mention is, doesn't he look familiar? The color scheme, the kind of the look, I think you know where I'm going with this. He looks a lot like who he voiced from the 80s from an earlier action figure. So let's take a peek here at these accessories. I left them bagged up, so we'll just rip them open here on camera. It's a Chicken Fried Toy, so he only comes with a few necessary accessories, like this figure stand right here. I kind of like these. There are 3 pegs for various posabilities. He comes with his, let's just say, First Sergeant hat, since I'm not real clear on the design or the style of this hat, but I like the look of the hat. He comes with, hey, I know this is a rifle. Look at that. Let's take a little bit closer look here at this rifle, if we can get my camera to focus in on it, because I think this is something cool. Look at that. You got some detail. So I'm going to just point out this figure is about $33. And do you want to know why this figure is $33? For one, it's not meant for kids. And two, look at this. Not only does it look cool, but you got these different paint apps, and you got these. Look at this. Every single little dot on here is a little dab of paint. Just a little dab of paint back down here. Is this the butt of the rifle? I don't know guns, so I'm kind of making stuff up as I go. You got this kind of gun metal silver here and there, and then the brown colors. I mean, this is a really cool looking accessory, if you ask me. I really honestly do think it's neat. The detail is just really awesome. And he comes with this handgun, and I'm blocking the light here. But again, it's got a little bit of detail there. So let's jump over and take a peek here at this figure. Or maybe we should gear him up first before we actually do it. So I think the hat goes this way. So the hat fits on. Look at that. It's a handsome fellow, isn't he? Looking here at the holsters, he's got this holster over here on his right hip. It doesn't open, and it looks like there's supposed to be a gun inside of there. So this holster does not hold this gun. I don't actually see a holster on the figure for the gun, so I'm assuming that this figure will hold both of his weapons. So, you know what, let's get to the gearing up in just a bit, but let's take a look at this articulation. So I would advise everybody or anybody who gets these figures and some of the other what I guess you call boutique 4-inch action figure lines, you might want to warm them up before you go and try to articulate them or move them around too much. Some people have some problems. I'm usually super careful, so I don't have a lot of problems, but I have had a few problems in the past. So if there's any question whatsoever and you don't actually want to have a problem with your figure or have to go through like, contacting the place you bought it from or anything like that, that's not a bad idea just to go ahead and warm the figure up either with hot water or like a hair dryer. And I'm thinking about doing a little video showing what I do. So full disclosure now, I did not warm up this figure because he feels pretty good to me. So the articulation is the head rotates around. It's on a ball joint up there, so it goes like all over the place. The shoulders, the arms rotate all the way around. There is a hinge, and they can go up this far like that. You can do a nice little Y pose there. And the elbows rotate all the way around, and there is a joint there, so he can get 90 degrees. The wrists rotate all the way around and has a hinge. I think they are both up and down hinges like this. There is a ball joint at the waist here between the upper half and the lower half, allowing all sorts of motion and movement. There is no torso cut like you might be used to with some action figure lines. He's got a ball joint where the legs and the waist hook together, and if you want him to do the splits, while he might not be able to do it in real life maybe this well, gosh darn it, he can do it this well as an action figure. And he's got double pin at the knee, so if you want, he can bend his knee back that far. And the last little bit of articulation might surprise you because it did me, and that is, while he's got these covering the boots, he actually, if you can see there, he can actually get these ankles bent back about that far and going forward about that far. And believe it or not, there's even a little bit of soft rubber down here for some. Try to get to where I can show you properly. You can actually rotate the foot back and forth. Look at that. You could probably rotate it all the way around if you wanted to, but that might hurt, so don't do that to him. Don't do that to poor Mr. Bell. He didn't do anything to you. So let's get a little bit closer and look at the detail on this figure, because there you go. I'm impressed. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to pull the light over here, get a little bit brighter, get a little bit closer, and take a peek here at his bandolier. You see this right there? That's a little gold dab of paint. And there are some silver dabs of paint right through there. Now, maybe not every single thing is painted, but you got several gold dabs right there. You got a couple silver. Actually, when I do this, there's a lot more silver along here than I thought. Look at that. Little dabs of paint. That's what they are doing for this figure. And you flip them around, and on the back of the figure, look at that. This buckle is painted silver, and you still have those little dots on the back of the figure. Most people, from what I understand, when you display a figure, you don't see the back, but you got all these little silver dabs and these few gold dabs. That's pretty cool. I like that a lot. Let's and you look up here. Let's take this off. Let's take off the bandolier. Maybe. Come on, Mr. Bell. First Sergeant, sir. All right. So take a look up here, and I'm going to address something here in just a moment. But first off, look up here. He's got the little black dot there on the shoulder and the little black dot there on the shoulder, and on his pockets, these are buttons, they're not just dots, but they are buttons. Up here in the front, you see there's a black dot there and a black dot there for buttons. And on his sleeves, you have a black dot. Why am I pointing out black dots? Why do I sound so happy about a black dot? I'm not happy about a black dot. That doesn't make... I don't wake up in the morning thinking, ooh, my action figures have black dots. More so, it's the level of detail and the paint apps on this figure that is one of the reasons I really like this line. There is, I believe, a lot of thoughtfulness put into it, a lot of care. Look at the buckle here. I wish I could get this closer, but my camera won't. I think you can see it well enough. Look at this buckle. There we go. I think you can see it. US, all in gold. That is some small detail. And even when you look at his hair, he's got kind of a wash. There we go. I think you can see it. It's a gray hair with a bit of a white wash through it to make it kind of a white gray. I know, I'm sure other figures have done this, but this is a small company, and I'm not here to promote the company, but I have to give props where I see them. Look at this. The tie pops up. And here, did you see what I just saw? And I hadn't even noticed it till now. Yes, I'm using my X-Acto knife. Get over it. But look at that. He's got dots. He's got button dots under the tie where you don't even see them. I know, you know what? A lot of people could have just said, nope, we're not going to paint those dots. We don't need those dots. But look at that. That's crazy. Now, along those lines, I will point out, I'm not seeing, I don't know if the laces on these boots would be the same color or not, but look at this. This is very tiny. A tiny gold buckle on the side of this boot. These are not toys, by the way. The package does say 25 plus. These are adult collector action figures. They are absolutely not meant for kids to play with. There's another gold buckle right there. These are meant for people to get them out, display them, and I was about to say play with them, but I just said they're not for play. They're for adult play. Now, one thing that I've really enjoyed about the Chicken Fried Toys belts, this is one thing I really like, how they can slide some of these items back and forth. So if you want this holster to be on the side, you can have it on the side. Maybe he's going to be a little bit of a front cross draw. I don't know. You could have it right there if you wanted to. He's got a couple pouches. You could have this pouch in the back. You could have it off to the side. You could even move it way over here on this side. I like how the belts have moving parts. This little pouch could be right there in the front. Who knows where he wants to wear it? Could be on the side, could be in the back. Maybe he's got two pouches in the back, and I just noticed something else. Yes, here it is, little dots. Look at that. Two more little gold dots. I don't know anything about action figures, not really, like how to make them, but I can't imagine it's very cheap to add these little dots. That's just my guess. I'm guessing, you know, all these little dots. I don't know if they're hand painted or machine painted, but golly, I think he's done well for First Sergeant Mr. Bell. Look at that face. The face is pretty good too. So I think there is loads of detail, especially attention to detail. I think that's the big thing, is the attention to detail. I'm not crazy about the knees, but you know what? There's a lot of knees for a lot of different action figures I'm not crazy about. Now, I said there was something I'm going to mention, and that is right here. If you notice, I'm noticing a crack. Not an actual crack, like the figure's broken, but the seal between the front and back torso, there is a crack right there along the shoulder, and the other shoulder, there's another crack right there. Let's take a look under. I think they use, if I understand it right, a process called sonic welding. You know, this is me talking that I don't know what I'm talking about, so correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's like a sonic weld, and I don't know exactly what that means exactly. But I noticed that it's there. I shouldn't say a crack, but it's like a separation in that seal or something. And there's even a little bit of a separation that runs all the way down the right side. And let's see, what about this left side? I haven't looked at it yet. And there is a very slight. I'm not quite sure what is standard, what's acceptable, what's normal. But I just noticed that that kind of jumped out at me while I've been looking here at the button detail. Especially when we were looking here at the shoulder, and I was pointing out that this button right there, I also noticed that that separation there. Does it bother me? I mean, I notice it, but I'm not going to be staring at it. So from this point of view, let's get Mr. Bell, First Sergeant Bell. Let's get him back out here. From this point of view, I'm not going to notice it, and it's not going to be that big of a deal. With the arms down, I'm definitely not going to notice the little bit of a seam on the side. But if I'm looking down more at this position, then I might notice it. But, you know, as long as the figure doesn't snap, doesn't break, doesn't separate. I'm not sure what I could do to try to make it to separate. Okay, so probably doing this. Opening the arm this way, I notice it stretches the gap just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, no, I went quiet because I'm concentrating now. I'm not trying to suddenly find something wrong with it, but I'm just noticing. So it doesn't seem like moving the arm back and forth is something that really expands the front and the back. I've learned since, there we go, the peg comes out, and behind the peg is a screw. Look at that, it's just like the old style G.I. Joe O-ring figures. You could, so actually this is a good thing to show, because this screw means that this front and back should not be separating at all, because there's like a backup plan. So it holds it together. It shouldn't just be popping apart. So that's cool. I didn't think about that till just now. I'm not quite sure how to get this back on. I don't know if they come with actual backpacks. I haven't seen any dime. No, I don't think I'll get this back on during this video. Anyway, I don't know if I've seen any actual like backpacks for these figures from Chicken Fried Toys or not, but they don't seem deep enough to hold any kind of a backpack, so probably not the case. I think I've probably rambled on long enough and thrown this figure around. Let's see, he definitely has some pegs. He's got some pegs in his feet. And I could peg him into both and give him some sort of a really cool little pose. Let's see here. I'll do that. We'll give him this kind of a pose. Oh, shoot. Let's put his bandolier back on. Actually, this is a very appropriate pose for First Sergeant Michael Bell, because right about now, with that arm in the air, that was supposed to go on quicker, with this arm in the air, what do you think he is thinking or saying? Maybe a good hefty "Yo Joe"? Maybe. I don't know. He used to say "Yo Joe" quite a bit. Let's slide this gun in the hand. Now, one thing I have to admit with these figures, and y'all get ready to cringe, I'm not going to cut his finger off, but my fingers are kind of large to be trying to manipulate his first finger into that trigger hole. I have discovered it's a little bit difficult on some figures to get that first finger into that trigger hole. That's just me, though. I might be doing something wrong. Get the hat on. Next, we'll get the handgun, well, in his hand, where it belongs. Actually, it belongs in a holster until you are ready to actually use it. Gun safety and all that. I am a little disappointed that this figure does not come with at least a holster that this handgun can go into. I think that would be pretty cool. So in this case, this is about how we are going to get Mr. Bell, First Sergeant Bell, geared up. I think he looks pretty cool, and overall I really like it. I especially like the color scheme used and how it reminds us of Duke from the 1980s G.I. Joe cartoon, and I think this is a great homage to the voice actor, you know, having his actual likeness on that color scheme. I think that's really cool. And as I've said, I think it's pretty neat, all these little tiny details, all these little paint details that they've gone through and added. Overall, I think this is a very worth it figure for the price. I know it's a little more spendy than, say, your standard Fortnite figure. And by the way, that's about how This figure stands up next to a Fortnite figure. They're pretty similar in height. But, you know, Fortnite is not made, you know, this well. And so they're a little bit cheaper, and they're also made by a much larger company who can do a lot of figures at one time. Whereas this is limited to 2,000, and I'm sure Fortnite is made in much higher quantities. This is a nice figure. This really is a premium adult collectible action figure. Not meant for kids, but meant for adults. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.